The Howard Stern Show.
What a show. It's moving very fast. And now I have a big announcement to make to welcome us to L.A. As if Jimmy Kimmel, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Adam Levine weren't enough.
What, wasn't that enough?
The man who represents Hollywood the most these days is, of course, Robert Downey Jr. And there he is. Look at him. Let's take a look at him. There's the guy who is Hollywood. He has become Hollywood. What an entrance. Look how handsome you are. Tony Stark.
Welcoming you to L.A.
You're not welcoming me to L.A.?
I'm running shit here. You're on my time now.
Why won't you welcome me to L.A.?
Because everyone else did it. I'm not a repeater.
What do you think of this set? Do you like this set better than our New York set? People seem to feel that this is better for us.
Here's what I'll tell you. It is very convenient and accessible.
Yes.
Which, when you're driving all the time out here, is a big plus. Hey, Fred. Hey.
Oh, you said hi to Fred. Now that is
Fred has become
unique.
a thing. All you see is a hand.
Yeah,
I'm trying to mix it up.
You want to see Fred's face, or
yeah? Hey, Fred, give me a let's see your punum, buddy.
Come on, buddy.
Nobody wants to see. Hi, Gorgie.
Fred, are you upset with me that I put you behind a wall?
What?
Oh, okay. I don't know. I put him there because I don't want to be distracted by his. He's busy back there running things, and I don't want to be distracted.
It's fucking weird, dude.
It is weird?
It's not, I mean, not by your standards, but generally speaking, yeah. But
wouldn't you feel weird if Fred was staring at you during our conversation?
I feel like Fred's always staring at me. I listen to the show today.
When you were filming the last, your last Iron Man thing, I understand you used Fred's face as an inspiration.
I did. Well, yes, behind a wall. And by the way,
Robin.
Hello, dear Robin.
Yes.
Hi. You're not isolated, which
No, they couldn't figure that out in time.
No.
They would have had me
And we build sets here for a living. What? That's not an excuse. But here's what I like. You guys are having to share a preferred temperature. What would we say it is in here right now?
I don't like it. It's too cold for me.
Too cold right now?
Yeah, right now. What do you think?
I'm comfortable.
I'd say it's about 70.
Yeah, I like it 73 to 4 degrees.
Really?
I don't like cold rooms.
Are you a newborn baby?
I'm so cold all the time.
Oh,
it's
I'm so
terrible.
sorry.
My wife and I freeze.
This is why LA's good for you. By the way, welcome to LA, baby.
Thank you. Thank you, baby.
You deserve it.
Look at the most successful guy in Hollywood right now. Honestly, be honest.
I was until a couple months ago.
Why? Because
I retired my jersey.
Are we allowed to say that what happened in the last movie, that Iron Man? I mean, everyone's seen it at this point, right? Can I say
I don't know that everyone's seen it.
But I'm saying it.
Anyone who hasn't seen it,
yeah,
we don't need to worry about how it's going to affect them because they got bigger problems than that.
Yeah, quite frankly, before I saw it, I knew that you died in the movie.
Oh,
and,
how?
I knew it because it was out there. I didn't get to see it till after it was the big release.
Yeah, I rushed out and got the big surprise.
Right.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But by the way, in the comic book world,
yeah,
Iron Man, like you could come back anyway. You're not really dead because they could do like a prequel. They could do all kinds of shit with like Superman would die sometimes,
right.
And then on the next book he'd be back.
Well, Lord knows you could. But I also grew up in that era where it seemed to be happening. I think Arnold was right. There's too many pillows here. I'm going to take a few of these back to my guest house, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cost of doing business. No free lunches.
Hey, by the way, before we go on with Iron Man, what happened in the green room? Are you okay? Someone said you had an altercation.
I'm not okay.
Are you all right?
Here's what's funny.
I don't want that happening.
You don't?
No.
But it gives us something to talk about.
What are we talking about? What happened? You were in. We have a new green room set up.
You can call it a green room. It's outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is typical L.A. because it's al fresco here.
Yeah.
You know you want to move here. Think about it. And by the way, Robin, you and I, we should take some meetings.
Oh, really?
While you're here, yeah, because I don't like all this up in the air. Maybe you're coming back, maybe you're not. I got to look after your gal.
Listen, I look after Robin too, and Robin looks after me. How dare you?
Wow.
Okay. Finish Iron Man, then tell me what happened in the green room.
Finish Iron Man.
In other words, you feel it's over, or is it really not over? In other words, we'll probably see. You're so damn good at it, and I'm not just sucking your balls. Because your Iron Man portrayal has become the thing. It is a huge moneymaker.
Yeah,
you still enjoy doing it, yes?
I'll tell you the truth. I didn't expect it to become what it became, and it is this very large, multi-headed hydra at this point. And I've always had other interests, and according to Scorsese, it's not cinema. I got to take a look at that,
Well, why did he say that?
Because it's his opinion.
But it is fucking cinema, isn't it?
I mean, it plays in theaters.
Yeah, well, what did he mean by that, that it's not cinema?
Look,
How dare he?
I appreciate his opinion because I think it's like anything. We need all of the different perspectives so we can come to center and move on. You're therapy.
No, come on.
You're therapized.
No, you're being too nice.
Magnanimous, it's called.
No, really. Were you insulted when he said that it's not cinema? That somehow Iron Man isn't cinema? It is cinema to me.
Well, I mean, look, it'd be like saying Howard Stern isn't radio. It is. It makes no sense.
But what was he
trying?
Was he jealous of the success?
Of course not. But I mean, he's Martin Scorsese.
So what does he mean by it?
I think in his view, and by the way, there's a lot to be said for how these genre movies, and I was happy to be part of the problem if there is one.
Right.
Were denigrated the art form of cinema. And by the way, when you come in like a stomping beast and you eliminate the competition in such a demonstrative way, it's phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. And maybe he's upset about you know what it is? You get older, you're used to cinema being a certain way.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Do you actually think Martin Scorsese is upset about Marvel movies?
Yes. Yes, I do. Okay. Because he's the guy who's busy archiving films, and he's
archived my dad's films. And by the way, I appreciate his point of view. Robin, what do you think?
Well, he's commenting on it.
Yeah, and why not?
I don't know. It's kind of a knock. I mean, the fact is, were you ever nominated for an Academy Award for Iron Man?
No.
Don't you think that's, and be serious.
Yeah.
Because it's a superhero movie, they turn their nose at the performance is excellent.
Well,
it is a totally believable character.
Well, I'm so glad you brought this up because there was some talk about it, and I said, let's not. And because I'm much more like you than you might really want to believe, I listen to the show. I agree with most all of your opinions, varied though they may be. Occasionally, you'll go on some tributary trail of thought that I go like, God, that's not how I see it. But I go, but I love that you see it that way. My point of view on Academy or the Marvel movies or whatever, doing them was their own reward. I don't know that it's time or that I'm the guy who should be put forth to have the Academy recognize an arc going.
But
over
how
10
is
years.
the performance of Tony Stark any different than Chaplin? When you think about it, you had to develop a character, make him come to life.
Yeah, well, that was a biopic about arguably the greatest film actor of all time.
Okay, but
I was younger.
You were nominated.
I was nominated, yeah.
Hey, you know what I never asked you about?
Huh.
You were in Back to School. People forget this.
You're right, they do.
They do.
It burns me up.
It upsets you, doesn't it? I knew that. Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy working with Rodney Dangerfield?
It was the greatest.
It was?
And everything that you said about what a champion he was for other comedians and what a kind of tortured, wonderfully perfect guy he was. The first time I went to meet him, it was at this apartment he was staying in. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to meet Rodney Dangerfield. And he opened.
Why did you have to meet him? Because
I don't know why. Okay. It was like, Rodney thinks you. I was like, yeah, I want to meet Rodney. So I went over to this apartment, the door's open. And he's there in a terry cloth robe. And just as he opens the door, the robe falls open. And I'm looking at these massive kiwis of his.
Balls.
Yeah.
Big penis?
I don't recall.
It was the testicles.
Dude, I'm telling you, these things, they were like fuzzy mangoes. And the first thing he ever said to me, which is a real icebreaker, was, you mind if I smoke some shit?
Really?
And I was like, no, of course not.
Were you sober back then, or were you, no?
Please.
So you guys sat down and smoked weed together?
Look, there was about 30 years where I was pretending I was sober most of the time. So if I was meeting Rodney Dangerfield and he was smoking chit, I probably... Fred, you got a minute? I'm in the middle of a story.
What's he doing?
I mean, you know what?
I told you he's a distraction.
I want the wall to extend all the way into the green room.
I told
now you understand the wall.
Now you understand. Do you see how distracted you got when you looked at Fred?
No, I'm going to make a counter argument, and I want you to understand my point of view.
You were about to tell me about Rodney Dangerfield's
Scorsese's point of view about thinking that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not cinema, even though it has cinematic in its title.
Yeah.
if there wasn't a wall there, it wouldn't have distracted me because I wouldn't have seen Fred appear from behind a wall and then come back to the wall.
God, you're so well thought out. You're really impressive. What is your IQ? You're a smart guy.
158.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You've been tested.
Yeah, but the drag is 160 is genius. So
158.
I've been playing 2 points smarter than I am.
158 is genius. Anything over 130 is in the genius level. Your
so
IQ is 158?
You think I'm going to come here and fucking lie to you in
Oh
L.A.?
my God.
Nobody lies in L.A.
Wow. Were you a phenomenal student?
No.
Why is that if you have an IQ of 158? Do you think you just got bored in school?
Probably hallucinogens helped.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, well, that's true. You started young with that shit.
Robin, you wanna go do some microdosing, or you wanna trip out while you're here?
No, the famous story was your dad sent you weed at summer camp or something, right? Wasn't
That's probably apocryphal.
Is that not true?
I'm gonna debunk all that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you shocked at how much stupidity there is in the world when you're operating on your IQ level? Do you sit there and go, "Holy shit, everyone is stupid"?
No, because IQ is not commensurate to actual intelligence. It's really,
it isn't?
It's more about are you generally capable of functioning? And by the way, I feel like I'm always functioning at a deficit.
Bullshit.
I wouldn't lie to you.
Wait, you have that high on IQ? I only wish I could get a few more IQ points.
You should get retested.
No, because I like math is difficult for me. There are certain spatial concepts that are difficult for me that you probably easily think.
I might have just been having a good day.
I don't know. No, 158 is very high.
Those tests are not all that indicative of what somebody is.
Get back to, with your 158 IQ, get
What do
back
you
to
want,
Rodney
Rodney?
Dangerfield's
Let's go,
balls.
Rodney.
No, I just want to remember Rodney for a minute because you're someone who had a moment with
Yes.
him. You get that movie,
Yep.
and you go back to school.
Yes.
And you get that movie, and you have to go over and meet Rodney. And Rodney's first of all, I can't tell you how many people told me that when he walks in a room, he immediately always shows up in a robe or pajamas, and his balls and dick are out. I mean, I think that's a move of his.
He was, I think Colin Farrell took a cue from him because he used to have his pecker out a bunch.
Oh, did he? Colin Farrell?
But I think he was well endowed. If I was Colin Farrell, I'd be walking around with my robe open.
Yeah, and from what you say, Rodney had huge balls.
Balls, yeah.
And then, and you smoke weed with Rodney. I would think
I did not smoke
you
weed
did what?
because I was pretending that I didn't need to smoke weed every 20 minutes.
Right, and that would have been bad. But
Yeah.
Rodney sat there and smoked by himself?
To the best of my recollection.
Kidding.
wow.
How many hours do you spend with Rodney? Or is it just like a 10-minute meet and greet?
I don't recall much, but the cojones.
And why was the movie so much fun? Did he make it fun, or it was? I mean, Kinnison was. Did you meet Kinnison?
Of course.
Yeah, and
And
that was
Burt Young, and I mean, everybody. And,
everyone was great on that.
it was great. It was also, I mean, come on, for when you're looking at the back nine, it's all a period piece. So I have my memories of shooting something in the 80s where everything was completely awesome.
Right.
But I do remember we were shooting some scene in Madison, Wisconsin, and I think it was like a Thursday or something, and I think we were at like a checkout line at a supermarket or something, and he goes, "Oh, my ankle." I was like, "Your ankle?" He goes, "Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to make it in tomorrow." You know what I mean? I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah. Hey, are you around tomorrow?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Maybe they'll shoot some of your shit." And I was like, wow. He just told me that he's going to feign an ankle injury, so he has a 3-day weekend, and do I mind covering for him when the first AD scrambles to figure out what they're going to shoot?
Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah.
Oh my! He winked at you and goes, "Oh, my ankle."
I think my ankle's swollen, you know what I mean? I was like, oh my God, is it okay? He's not really. Come here.
What the hell did he have to go do? He's in the middle of shooting a movie.
He was a very active fella. He seemed to have plenty to do.
Right.
Besides shoot.
Yes. Now, Iron Man, psychologically, going away from that franchise, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, the money was phenomenal.
Astounding.
And I'm hung up on that.
I know.
Because I really am.
I'm glad.
I mean, the back end, you got it all, right? Even on the last movie, what did that movie gross? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, like I think Avatar was more than 2.7 billion.
2.7 billion.
Yeah.
And then you get back end money on that. They'll have to send you a check.
They do.
I'm calculating what you get on that. That could be a $75 million payday.
We'll talk about it off air.
Really?
You will flip your lid.
He's not even close?
I'm not close?
No, but here's the thing.
I'm not?
You're not.
I mean, in other words, it'll blow my mind.
By the way, you're not. Forbes never gets it right.
Right.
Nobody ever gets it right. Some years they've been like, Robert Downey Jr. is a single gross. I was like, that's not what happened. I didn't do that well. And then other years, someone else has got it. And I was like, that was my year.
Do you fantasize about, because I'm going to read the laundry list of projects you're involved, and in a way I'm going to prove that you think you are now Tony Stark. You've gone full out Tarzan on me. And I think you think you're Tony Stark.
Yes.
Because didn't you go to Amazon and there was some event where
the Remars convention, yeah.
And you walk in there and you start like Tony Stark. You're introducing AI, right? You're now correct. Pursuing AI.
I am.
Artificial. What do you mean by that?
Well, and when you say, you frame it like I'm pursuing AI.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of super smart people at this lunch, and I was prepping to be a keynote speaker, and somebody said, between robotics and AI, we could probably clean up the planet in less than a decade if we could get organized and do it. And I said, oh my God, well, let's do it. Let's start a coalition. They're like, oh, hold on now. And everyone said, Robert, don't take this on.
Are you known for that, for starting things and then not completing them, or are you someone who follows through?
In this instance, I knew that if I felt this impetus, because I was like, why is it that everyone talks a good game, but when it really comes down to stepping out of, but I shouldn't have said that. And well, can you qualify that? And I was like, the guy who said it is an actual genius.
What could be more important than you, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., who's now become Tony Stark, forming a company and saving the planet?
Right.
I mean, I love this concept.
It's a good concept, and that's pretty much what it is right now. This saving the world thing, it's so cavalier.
Can you get the plastic out of the ocean?
Yes.
How do we do it?
Let's do it.
How do we do it?
I'm going to talk to Arnold.
I know, but seriously, do you have a beat on this?
Well, first of all, that massive floating island in the middle of the Pacific, it in and of itself isn't hurting, harming, or doing anything. It's just an eyesore. It is the microplastics en masse that need to be addressed.
And you think maybe through artificial intelligence we can clean this up?
AI is part of it, but what it really is as per usual, it's breaking down the lack of communication, the turf wars, the self-interest, and all that stuff. It's kind of like trying to teach an old dog new tricks, because if you don't, it's going to die.
So have you formed a company that is going?
We have a coalition called the Footprint Coalition. We'll be launching that in April, and then there'll probably be some media associated with it where I'll do some podcasts and stuff.
Love this. Yeah. Look at you.
Look at me.
So now you don't have to worry, Howard. Iron Man is on it.
Yeah. You become Iron. It's like, remember Bela Lugosi when they buried him in his Dracula costume? Like maybe you've gone insane and now you think you're Tony Stark. But I like it.
Thank you.
At least you're saving the world with your Tony Stark character.
Well, the saving the world thing is, again, I think that the currency of how cheapened that phrase has become is, to me, it was more like my reward at the end of this 12-year journey was I actually realized I'd been pretending to enact this kind of heroic journey for some time. And ultimately, the best thing I can do is just take a page out of where that science and entertainment was meeting and actually just throw my hat in the ring and say, yeah, I'll try to reduce my carbon footprint and I'll try to activate and help people. Thank you.
All right, now, what happened in my green room? Did you get into a fight?
I certainly didn't. If I got into a fight, we would be having a different discussion about the liability of who I touched up.
Do you want to talk about this or not?
I'll speak in the most general terms. Here's the funny thing. You say, welcome to LA.
Yes.
But it's also a place where, as you probably well know, you think that New York is the asshole capital of the world with all the power and the thing and all that. But honestly, I think LA is the great city in the great state in the great country on the great
You love
planet.
LA.
I love it, but the downside is it is rife with status games. And so I was just standing out there. And the other thing is, I cut my hair really short after I was doing this. I'm doing this documentary series for YouTube called The Age of AI. And after we were done last night, I was like, oh, my hair, hairdo. And I said, I'm just going to shave it all off. So I did that last night. And then I thought it'd also be easy when I came in today with I don't want the headphones messing up my do.
Right. Yeah, you look good. I like this.
But it increases my anonymity. Oh. So I was standing in front of the TV screen and this little nebbishy bigwig goes, hey, out of the way. And I was like, dude, we're all here together. He goes, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to light this guy up.
This is in my green room?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's called a green room. It's like an outdoor tented area. Go, baby.
Yeah, well, okay.
This is how we do it here.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying I only want you to have a good experience. You've been gracious enough to welcome me to L.A.
I am a peaceful warrior, fortunately.
Yeah.
Adam Levine told me I got to drop it.
Oh, what do you mean you got to drop it?
First of all, he walked right by me when he was done because, as I said, the anonymity. And he goes, where's the bathroom? I go, it's right here, brother. And he goes, oh, thanks, man. Kimmel walks out backwards. I'm standing against the wall, and he's like, yeah, and I turn it, and he goes, oh, hi.
Oh, yeah.
This might be my new look.
So, in other words, because of this short hair that you've now cut your hair, people are not recognizing you, which is a double-edged sword.
It makes me want to fight.
It makes you want to fight.
No.
So, in other words, you were out there in the green room.
Yeah.
You were blocking someone's view.
Somebody was blocking the view.
Right.
But here's the thing. It is this idea where wherever somebody goes, if they have a certain status, they are the master of that environment. And it's kind of always been that way. It's very old Hollywood. And there's part of me that loves it because it holds that mirror up about ego and self-obsession. And I obviously can relate to that.
So you got a taste of not being Robert Downey Jr. for a few minutes because people were mistreating you out in the green room because they didn't recognize you.
No, all I got was reminded that some people believe that whatever environment they're in belongs to them. And I said, we're visiting. This is a celebratory day. We're welcoming you guys to LA. This doesn't happen very often. This is like a bar mitzvah. You don't go to a bar mitzvah and start weirding out.
I mean, I love that my show is so wild like this.
It is.
But I don't want anyone having a bad experience.
I didn't have a bad experience.
Right.
I had a real experience.
So there was no fistcuffs or anything like that.
No,
you controlled your temper.
Yeah.
Right.
How was it
lethal
resolved?
weapons.
Did you move out of his way? Or?
Well, first my blood boiled for a minute, and you know how
was there words?
Well, after I said, I said, in case you're wondering who I am, I'm Howard's next guest, and I'll be the one that goes out there and talks about what a prick you are. But he shall remain nameless.
Okay.
Because the truth is, there's a little bit of anonymity, and he did apologize.
Okay.
And I think that, so it probably, honestly, was just one of those weirdly charged moments. You know how sometimes you step into a karmic bleed through and you're like, this ain't me, this ain't my day. And all of a sudden your biology takes over and you're reacting in this fight, flight, freeze, faint type thing. But anyway, But
I'll tell you something about you.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you because you probably on some level are itching for a fight because aren't you some sort of karate master? Like, aren't you an expert in one of the disciplines? No, seriously, aren't you like Bruce Lee or some shit?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm like Bruce Lee.
Yeah, isn't that a Bruce Lee shirt?
Yeah, it's him. It's him at a DJing.
You're wearing a Bruce Lee DJ shirt.
I'm a enthusiast and a student. I made black belt when I was 50, and the longer you've been around, and the more comfortable you become in.
What's your discipline?
Wing Chun Kung Fu.
Wing Chun Kung Fu. That sounds like some badass shit.
Mm-hmm.
In order to become a black belt, do you have to physically fight someone? Do you have to get into a ring or on a mat and fight someone?
Yeah, the gradings are pretty grueling. And my Sifu, Eric Oram, is an extremely gifted instructor. But anyway, back to
how many years do you have to study before you become a black belt?
For me, it was about 10.
Wow. And it's harder the older you get. I mean, the flexibility.
That's why I love it, yeah. But it was created, the whole system was developed by a female Buddhist monk, and it combines all of these animal styles.
Scares the shit out of me.
It's wildly vicious. You would love it.
Could you kill a man?
Anybody could.
No, but I'm saying with your bare hands, you could have killed the guy in the green room. You could have beaten the shit out of him.
But here's the point. Ultimately, martial arts is it's a healing tool. It's
Never
not
mind
a
that.
fighting tool.
If
All right,
you get into a fight with a guy, you could rip him apart.
I would only do it in self-defense.
Have you ever gotten a chance to use your kung fu
Do you think
skills?
that's why you do this stuff, so you get a chance to injure someone?
I want to beat the shit out of someone so bad. I just don't have the skills. I
show
lose every fight I'm in.
Again, so scratch the chess game with Schwarzenegger, and I'll show you a couple moves off camera.
No, have you ever gotten into an altercation with another being while you're now a kung fu master?
No.
You have not? So you haven't gotten to use your powers.
What's not to use them, what tends to happen if you're capable of defending yourself is you wind up energetically avoiding those situations.
Right. What animal do you emulate when you do it? Are you like a kangaroo?
Sloth.
Or a sloth?
I climb a tree and look really confused.
Mine is praying mantis.
Oh, it is. By the way, that is, that's
that is a discipline?
Sure.
No, look at this list of projects you're involved in. So is this liberating for you in a way to be out of the Marvel universe? Honestly, do you feel like, hey, I made a ton of dough.
Yeah.
I could walk away from show business. I'm now wealthy. I'm independent financially. Or are you turned on by finally like being out of that universe? Now you're free to do whatever you want.
Well, this is the problem with listening to you two.
Go ahead.
Consistently.
Yes.
It's like when the pet, the owner, I am very much in this place where, first of all, it was never about the money. Second of all, it's so consuming that it is a process to hang it up and move on, which one day you will get to experience. And it's a massive transition. It stirs up all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
But
are you sad?
No, sad's the wrong word. It's this thing that this is what we're here to do.
To be Iron Man?
We are here.
Because I would like to be Iron Man.
We're here to shit in our helmets, Howard.
Yes. What are you saying? In other words, you have to be experiencing some emotion right now. This is something you've done for the last, 10, 15 years?
Yeah, but I knew that I was wrapping it up 2 years ago. So I've had plenty of time, and it is in transitions where people fall apart. When you're in a phase, you're in the phase. The phase is very much like the transition from having been in the New York studio a minute ago to here.
Yes.
No problem. Now you've transited. You're in the studio. This is up and functioning. That there to here, the neurosis, the anxiety, the I don't want to go, the this, that, oh, is it going to be set up? Oh my God, they didn't separate, all that stuff that we can attach our anxiety to.
But you're being intellectual about this. You're walking away from something. I want to know what you're feeling.
Okay.
I really want you to tell me.
I'm feeling like this is what life is about.
Change,
and also becoming identified by, and attached to things that are very comforting, and then putting yourself in a position where you get out ahead of it going away.
But that's the actor thing. The actors are always leaving some role and moving on to another one. You are in rarefied air. You got to play the same character in the same universe over and over again with financial security. You knew the people involved, and now you're walking away from one of the most successful franchises in the history of film.
The most.
It is the most
Let's
successful.
not split hairs.
Yes.
Did you get a chance to say goodbye to Stan Lee at all? The guy who created this whole universe?
One of the last times I saw him, we were shooting Civil War, and his cameo that day was he's, I think, a UPS delivery man.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And he had a great line. He goes, "I have a package for Tony Stank."
Right.
Yeah.
And so what did you say to him? I assume you'd met him before, but
yeah.
Was that the last time you saw him?
That was one of the last times I saw him. And the crazy thing was he said that on the first take, he nailed it. And they go, "All right, resetting, let's do it again." And after that, he started saying, "I have a package for Robert." And I started, oh my God, it's wild. Even the guy who created the character thinks of me in a moment where he's talking about the character and go, this is so meta. Stan Lee is forgetting who I am in this moment.
That's why I say, why couldn't you have won an Academy Award for that role? Because you became a character. Yeah. People bought into it. It's not an easy character to play,
but
right?
Again, here's the thing.
Yeah.
That is an attachment to what is my MO here. And to be honest, first of all, you would
love the recognition. Come on.
Sure, but
you're not above that.
No, but nowadays, particularly, it's this thing where if you pull the trigger on that, all of a sudden your dance card is going around promoting the possibility of it. And there is nothing else for me to chase regarding it. The upside of having that object would not validate the time or energy I spent anymore. And it's not that I'm some transcendent guy. I wish I was sitting here saying, I already got 12 Oscars. I don't need another one. But also, again, when you're not a kid anymore, the things that you used to think were going to bring you the satisfaction you required to feel okay in your own skin, it just they evaporate a little bit.
Do you watch the Academy Awards when they're on?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Because you're curious. You're in the industry. You want to know, right? And sometimes you probably say to yourself, I'm 50 times the fucking actor that this guy is, and I'm not being acknowledged. I'm sorry. I bet you.
Is that how you watch?
That's exactly what he does.
Yeah. I have a little,
By the way, the last time I ran into you, we were at the documentary, a screening of the David Crosby film.
Remember My Name.
Yeah. What did you think of it?
I thought it was incredible.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And I felt sad. Didn't you?
Not really.
Do you remember what I said to David? I turned to David. You were sitting next to him, and I said, David, in this documentary, is Iron Man in it? Because I'd be a lot happier if he was. And
so I thought I was going to a little screening
Yeah.
in the old East Hampton Playhouse.
Yeah.
I walk in. Howard and Beth are sitting behind me. Martha Stewart is sitting in front of me,
Yeah.
and we're watching his doc. I personally, I think it was the best rock doc I've ever seen.
Me too. I loved it. It was fantastic. Listen.
Yeah.
I know this was a little stop by. My next guest is here. I want to say
good.
something to you.
Say it.
Saved. Look for Robert Downey Jr. in The Voyage of Dr. Dolittle coming in January
it's
2020.
So good.
Yeah.
Are you Dr. Dolittle?
I'm Dr. Dolittle. He's Welsh. This thing turned out so well. I'm really
When did
proud
you
of it.
shoot this?
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
And now it's first coming out. It takes a year to get this thing edited and all that.
Sure.
Are you a producer on this thing?
My Mrs. Susan Downey Esquire.
Oh, so that's part of your company. In other words, you guys look for projects, and it's a remake of Dr. Dolittle, or
Sure.
and the technology now is so
It's
spectacular.
bananas. It's really fun.
So when you talk to the animals,
Oh boy.
we're talking to animals. They look like animals.
They look like animals.
Yeah. And what do? You talk to an imaginary friend on the screen? Is
Oh,
that how it
yeah.
works?
Yeah.
Is that hard?
No.
We don't have somebody playing the animal while you're standing there?
I love working in a vacuum.
In other words, I know what you're talking about a little bit, because
Yeah.
on Private Parts, I got to do a couple of scenes. I was talking to no one,
Yeah.
and I loved it.
You don't want a little animal on a stick, just stick.
Well,
You don't need it.
The problem is then there's someone there pretending to be a squirrel or this or that. Sometimes it's great. And then sometimes you just go, should we bring in all the animal performers? I was like, yeah, miss me with that. Let me just do this. But
Look at you. You're a fucking real actor. You've mastered your craft. Are you a master at acting? Are you a master level actor?
You'd think after the 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
But the other great thing is that I feel like the reset button has been pressed, and that I'm in this phase now where
New
I'm like,
phase.
Yeah, new phase.
Do you get nervous walking on a set ever?
Of course.
You do?
Yeah.
Even when you played Iron Man after all those times? Would you actually be anxious?
I wouldn't say anxious. Also, I don't know if we really get to decide when the
Anxiety
when
hits.
when it
Yeah.
comes. You know, I mean, half of life, 70% of my existence is all just about trying to manage all of those characters.
Can you cry on command?
Absolutely.
You can?
Yeah.
Cry right now.
No.
What do you think about when you cry? What you have to.
I think about how you underestimated my back end on Endgame.
Oh, really? More than 75 million? Did you make $100 million, you son of a bitch? So jealous.
Later.
No kidding. Look at you. Let me look at you. Are you a billionaire?
No.
Have you become Tony Stark?
No, absolutely not.
What do you think about when you have to cry on camera?
It's really weird because when I was younger, like when I was doing Less Than Zero, I was thinking about these big ideas like, will dads and sons ever connect, and addiction and illness and all that stuff. And after I worked with Lord Attenborough, with Richard Attenborough doing Chaplin, he brought me into this more British external way of performing. And that's kind of stuck ever since, because by the end of shooting Chaplin, you say, "Oh, Robert, dear, could we just get one tear out of just the left eye for camera for Sven and I, would you? Just one soft tear on cue." And I was like, yeah, that's not going to be a problem.
Really?
Yep.
Do you think about Rodney Dangerfield's balls when you cry on? Look,
I do.
I want to thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
You're a good dude. I love you.
And we
I love you
understand
too.
that you're bringing back Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, that might have. We'll see.
We'll see?
We'll see how the studio behaves.
Okay.
Look at
Yeah.
you, mogul.
And let me know. Let me know about your dance card. We'll set up some big time
All
meetings.
right.
Look
If
at
I
Rob.
need to take some meetings, I'll call
How
you.
dare you think about leaving me? Look for Robert Downey Jr. in The Voyage of Dr. Dolittle coming in January 2020. Do you think I should announce who our next and last guest for today is, who's welcoming us to LA? Would you like to know?
I would love to know.
Hey now.
Would you like to know?
I would like to know.
Coming up next, first time she's ever been on the show.
What?
Big star,
Big star. What? You're the worst at that. Do you know what he's doing?
Jennifer Aniston making her first. Yeah.
That was his version of the Friends theme.
Oh, you're going to have a blast.
We are looking forward to this.
She's the greatest.
She's going to welcome us to L.A.
Oh, my
Look
God.
at what's happening here.
Okay.
Robert, thank you. Robert Downey Jr., he's the best. And we'll be back right after. I hope nobody yelled at her in the green room. I have the horrible. Go defend her, will you?
She can take care of herself.
I like your new haircut.
Yes,
We'll be
nice.
back right after Robin Easy.
Oh,
Robin's getting
Call me.
excited. All right, we'll be back right after these words.
The Howard Stern Show.